My name is Philip. I am 52 years old. My hair is going grey at the temples, and I have been a butler for over 20 years. I have served politicians, businessmen, actors, but nothing prepared me for the night I met those four couples. It was a Friday, the beginning of winter. The wind beat against the enormous windows of the mansion. Mr. Alistair, a famous tech entrepreneur, had rented the entire house for this exclusive dinner party. I arrived at 5 in the afternoon, put on my impeccable black uniform, my white gloves. I wiped down the marble countertops with a damp cloth, aligned the silver cutlery, and checked the crystal glasses against the light to ensure there were no smudges. The table was gigantic, made of dark wood, dominating the hall. Around it, chairs upholstered in cream fabric. A massive chandelier hung from the ceiling, with hundreds of crystals that tinkled with each gust of wind. At 7:30, they began to arrive. Imported cars, silent engines, headlights cutting through the night. Each couple looked like they had stepped off a magazine cover. The first to arrive was the fitness couple. He was tall, muscular, in a light-colored shirt that barely concealed his strong arms. She was tan, with straight hair, in a dark green dress that hugged her defined body. Both smiling too much, like people constantly posing for a picture. "Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Scott," I said. "Hi, Philip," she replied, animated. "This place is amazing. It's going to blow up our stories." I said nothing. I just smiled, because nothing that was going to happen that night could ever appear in any story. Next, the vegan couple arrived. They had an almost spiritual air about them. He was thin, with a high bun, a fine beard, a white linen shirt and wide-legged pants. She was pale, wearing no makeup, with natural hair down to her waist, dressed in something that looked like raw cloth. They wore wooden necklaces. "Good evening, Philip," he said, looking at me as if trying to see my soul. "Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Harper," I replied. She was holding a small amber bottle. She said in a soft voice, "I brought white sage essential oil. It purifies the environment." I smiled again. Deep down, I wondered how someone so spiritual could be so eager to flaunt their purity on the internet. The third couple was the religious couple, both well-dressed. He in a dark suit, navy blue tie, with a rigid posture. She in a skirt below the knee, an impeccable bun, light makeup. They entered smiling, wishing peace to everyone. "Philip, God bless you," he said, touching my shoulder. "Amen, sir. Welcome," I replied. He always spoke in a slightly pastoral tone, even just to say good evening. Finally, the guru couple. They were famous for selling courses on prosperity, positive thinking, emotional healing. He was short, with a wide smile, hair slicked back with gel, a white blazer over a black t-shirt. She was tall, thin, wearing a sparkling jumpsuit that almost reflected the light. A huge crystal hung on her chest. "Philip, what a beautiful energy this place has," he said, greeting me with 2 little pats on the cheek. "Yes, a high vibration," she said in a whisper. I just bowed slightly. I've worked for gurus before. I know that the loftier the speech, the deeper the pit of secrets. The night was beautiful, a clear sky, a full moon streaming through the windows. Dinner was being served in elegant silence, the sound of clinking glasses. Every 5 minutes, someone would pull out their phone to record stories or take a picture. I stood in a corner of the room, silent as the butler's role dictates, observing everything. As they laughed and toasted, all I could think was, something is wrong with this night. I don't know what, but something is wrong, and I was right. Very right. The dinner began calmly. I watched everything from the side of the room, hands clasped in front of me, attentive to any request. The air was a mix of spices, expensive wine, and French perfume. The 4 couples talked about travel, business, and mainly about their number of followers on social media. Each tried to speak louder than the next, as if it were an auction of importance. The fitness couple talked about a new line of sportswear they were launching, claiming it would be revolutionary. The vegan couple said they were in negotiations with a supermarket chain to sell their natural products. The religious couple spoke about the importance of spreading God's word through their stories, And the guru couple, of course, talked about opening registration for a very expensive spiritual retreat in Bali. But there was something in the air. I could see it in their eyes. They laughed, they toasted, but there was suspicion, a hint of envy, a desire to prove themselves better. It was then that the man from the guru couple, Julian, raised his glass and said, "Folks, how about we do something different tonight? How about a game?" Everyone looked at him. The room fell silent for a moment, until the husband from the religious couple chuckled softly. "A game? What kind of game?" Julian smiled. He seemed to have prepared this speech. "It's simple. Everyone puts their cell phone in the center of the table. If it rings, you have to answer on speaker. If a message comes in, you have to read it out loud. No secrets. Let's see who's who here." I felt my stomach turn cold. Even as just the butler, I sensed this was not going to end well. No game that involves secrets ever ends well, especially when the people involved have too many followers to be able to make a mistake. The guru's wife clapped her hands, excited. "That's it. Enough with the filters. Let's live in the truth." The fitness wife gave a nervous laugh. "Guys, are you sure this is a good idea?" Her husband stared at her and said, "What do you have to hide?" She blushed. Everyone laughed. The game was on. One by one, they placed their cell phones in the middle of the table on the white tablecloth. The sound of glass hitting wood echoed in the hall. I looked at that pile of cell phones as if they were time bombs. I knew that soon one of them would explode. I stood there, motionless in my corner, pretending to be concerned only with keeping the glasses full. But inside, I was tense. And it wasn't just out of curiosity to know what they were hiding. It was the certainty that whatever it was, it would ruin the night. And I was right. Very right. The game started quietly. It seemed no one wanted to be the first to have their phone ring or receive a message. The couples tried to make small talk, to disguise the heavy atmosphere. The fitness couple talked about marathons and supplements. The vegan couple said they didn't use any animal products, not even in their skin creams. The religious couple tried to keep the mood light, talking about Bible verses. And the guru couple talked, as always, about energy and prosperity. But everyone kept glancing at the pile of cell phones in the center of the table, until, suddenly, a sharp ringtone echoed through the room. Everyone fell silent. The phone trembled, vibrating on the white tablecloth. It was the phone of the woman from the fitness couple. She brought a hand to her mouth. She looked like she was about to have a fit. Her husband, the muscle-bound one, turned purple with anger. "Answer it," said Julian, the guru, smiling. "Rules are rules." She picked up the phone with her fingertips, as if holding something dirty. She pressed the green button. "Hello?" On the other end, a woman's voice, loud and informal. "Hi, sweetie. Your order came in. The diet pills. You can swing by tomorrow morning to pick them up, okay? Everything's set aside, including the ones that are banned here in the country." It was as if someone had spilled a full glass of red wine in the middle of the table. The silence grew heavy. The fitness wife turned white as a sheet. No, I think you have the wrong number," she said, trying to laugh. But the woman on the other end insisted. "It's you, honey. I've got your name written down right here. That imported thermogenic. And the other one your husband asked for too." From my corner, I saw her husband's face harden. The vegan couple exchanged quick glances. The religious couple raised their eyebrows. The guru couple pretended to be sipping their wine, but they were clearly hanging on every word. The fitness husband finally exploded. "Shut up! Hang up that phone!" She hung up, trembling. She stared at the table without blinking. The guru clapped his hands slowly. Well, what an interesting revelation. From you two of all people, so natural." The fitness wife started to cry softly. Her husband spoke through gritted teeth. "Say one more word, Julian, and I'll break you in half." Julian raised his hands theatrically. "Peace, brother, only peace." But there was no peace there. I could smell the fear, mixed with expensive perfume. The mood had changed, and it was only the beginning. After the commotion with the fitness couple, the room grew quieter. The vegan couple was the one who tried to lift the mood. "Well, everyone makes mistakes," the vegan man said, putting his arm around the fitness wife's shoulders. The important thing is to start over. The fitness wife managed a weak smile, wiping her face, but it was clear she wanted to disappear. Meanwhile, I stood in my corner pretending to be focused on refilling glasses, but I was alert to every movement. I knew it wouldn't stop there. There were still other cell phones on the table. Then the next notification arrived, a dry sound, a text message. The phone lit up. The vegan man's eyes went wide. His wife froze. Julian pointed with a venomous smile. "Come on, brother. Rules are rules. Read it to us." The vegan man picked up the phone, his hand shaking so much he almost knocked over his glass. He opened the message. His wife looked at him with her big, almost tearful eyes. He cleared his throat, his voice cracking. "The burger joint sales are booming. Sold hundreds of burgers today, ha ha ha. Little do they know they're eating real meat, ha ha ha." The vegan woman let out a scream. "No, that's not possible. You said it was all plant-based." He tried to take her hand. "It's marketing. It's just to avoid a loss. The public thinks they're eating plants, but the meat is cheaper. It's no big deal." She snatched her hand away. The religious couple was shocked. The fitness couple, who had been crying moments before, now looked on with indignation. The guru and his wife were smiling like spectators at a show. The vegan woman shot up from her chair. "You made me record videos defending veganism? I started to hate meat because of you?" He was silent. I noticed the woman starting to hyperventilate, her breath short, clutching the tablecloth as if she were about to faint. Julian, the guru, crossed his arms. "So that's it? The Zen couple who sells purity is deceiving everyone?" The vegan man glared at Julian with hatred. "Shut up, you phony. You're no saint yourself." Julian just smiled, a toothy grin. I, in my corner, watched it all, silent, my stomach churning. Deep down, I knew there was still much more to come. Because there were still 2 couples left, and 2 cell phones. The hall was steeped in an uncomfortable silence after the vegan couple's scandal. The atmosphere felt dense, as if the air itself had grown heavier. The candles flickered on the tables, casting shadows that seemed to dance on the walls. The sound of the old clock ticking became so loud it felt like it was echoing in my chest. I stood there, feigning tranquility, but my heart was racing. It was as if I'd been thrown into a minefield where any step could detonate more secrets. And there were still 2 cell phones left. The religious couple was clearly shaken. The wife, Anna, was pale, tightly clutching a small crucifix that hung from her neck. Her husband, Richard, kept his hands on the table, trying to project serenity, but I could see the slight tremor in his fingers. Julian, the guru, seemed to be feeding on the chaos. His eyes were shining, as if he was enjoying himself. "So," Julian said, his voice gentle, "is anyone else expecting a call or a message?" No one answered. They all just stared at the pile of phones, until, as if on cue, Richard's phone vibrated on the table. Anna squeezed her husband's hand, whispering, "Don't answer. It must be a mistake." Julian leaned over the table with that venomous smile. "Rules are rules, little pastor. You have to answer." Richard took a deep breath. I could see the sweat beading on his forehead, glistening under the chandelier's light. "It must be a mistake," he said, still reluctant. But Julian didn't back down. "Either you answer, or you're admitting you have something to hide." Anna looked at her husband, tears welling in her eyes. "Answer it, Richard. If there's nothing wrong, just answer it." Richard sighed, picked up the phone. He pressed the green button. He brought the phone to his ear. "Hello?" A woman's voice came from the other side, full of intimacy. "Hi, my love. Are you really not coming tonight? I'm waiting. I've got everything ready here, just like last time." Anna clapped a hand over her mouth. She froze, as if she'd been shot. The fitness couple exchanged a look. The vegan couple was speechless. Even Julian, the guru, was silent for a few seconds. Richard stammered, his voice strangled. You have the wrong number." The woman on the other end insisted, "Richard, it's Amanda. It's my number. You saved it as mechanic, so no one would suspect. You promised me you'd sleep here tonight." Anna shot up so abruptly her chair fell backward. The crash echoed through the hall. Her eyes were red, her chest heaving. "Liar!" she screamed, pointing a finger at her husband. "You preach about family on social media. You tell me to post that God brought us together while you're sleeping with another woman." Richard reached for her, pleading. "Anna, it's not what it looks like." She recoiled, her face twisted with disgust and sorrow. "I always knew you had secrets, but not like this. Not like this." Julian finally spoke, his voice smooth as poison. "Brother, God sees everything, even this." Richard turned on him furious. "Shut up, Julian. You're no better than anyone here." The guru raised his eyebrows as if amused. But I never said I was." Anna stood there, breathing hard. I almost took a step forward, thinking she was going to faint, but she gripped the edge of the table, looked at each person there and said, "I will not sit at a table with a traitor." And she walked out of the hall, her steps heavy, her skirts swishing. The silence she left behind was so thick you could feel it. Richard dropped his phone on the table, his head in his hands. His shoulders rose and fell, as if he were crying silently. Julian sighed, clapping his hands just once. "Well, does anyone need to use the restroom, or shall we continue?" I, standing in the corner, thought, the night isn't over yet, and the most fake couple of all is still to come. After Anna left the hall, no one dared to speak for a few seconds. The only sound was the wind against the windows and the faint tinkling of the chandelier's crystals. The fitness couple looked down, ashamed. The vegan couple kept quiet, as if trying to disappear. The guru, Julian, seemed calmer than ever, almost satisfied, as he slowly swirled the wine in his glass. "Let's take a few minutes to breathe," he said. "Feel free to use the restroom if you like." Everyone rose slowly, as if leaving a funeral. Even the religious husband, Richard, got up, walking like an old man, shuffling his feet. It was in that moment, as everyone dispersed through the hall, that I took the opportunity to move. I knew it was my chance to circulate without drawing attention. I crossed the silent corridor, passed through the antechamber, and headed toward a half-open door. The sound coming from inside made me stop in my tracks. An argument, loud, harsh. I immediately recognized the voices of the guru couple. The two who preached balance, light, and prosperity were practically killing each other inside a luxurious office. His voice was thick with anger. "I can't take it anymore, Claire. You embarrass me in front of everyone." Her voice came back sharp as a razor. "Embarrass you? I should be embarrassed of you, Julian. You stand there talking about prosperity while we're drowning in debt because you blow all our money on ads to pretend you're rich." Julian responded, each word spat with venom. "Shut up. You know if this gets out, we're dead. You think people follow us because they like us. They follow us because they think we're millionaires." Claire screamed. "We're nothing, Julian. I hate you. You made me record a video saying we were the perfect couple, that our sexual connection was perfect, that we had prosperity. It was all a lie. You haven't touched me in months." I stood there, pressed against the cold wall, trying not to make a sound. My heart was beating so hard I thought it would give me away. Julian whispered, in a tone that gave me chills, "You will keep your mouth shut, or I will end you, and your family too." There was a dry sound. Maybe she pushed something, or maybe it was just a sob. I backed away slowly, silently. I returned to the hall, tried to regain my composure as if nothing had happened. Minutes later, they all started coming back, more tense than before. No one made eye contact. Some didn't even sit together again. Julian was the last to return. His face was calm, his smile fixed, but I knew that inside he was boiling. He tapped the table twice. "Very well. I believe we can continue our game." No one said anything. They just went back to staring at the phones in the center of the table. Suddenly, Julian's own phone vibrated. The sound was loud, unexpected. Everyone jumped. He feigned a laugh. Well, looks like it's my turn." His wife, Claire, looked up, her expression icy, almost as if she had been waiting for this moment. Julian answered, putting it on speaker. "Talk." The voice on the other end was male, impatient. "Julian, it's Roger." The scam worked, man. You're not gonna believe it. We closed over 1,000 sales today alone. No shipments made, everything's still sitting in the warehouse. The influencers are holding off the followers with excuses. Just like you said, you're a genius, man. A silence so profound fell over the hall that I could hear the clock in the main foyer striking the hour. The guru closed his eyes for a second. When he opened them, he wore a smile that looked pasted on. Sorry, everyone. Business talk. But no one seemed willing to swallow that excuse. The fitness wife was the first to speak. Are you saying all those products you advertised never existed? Julian didn't answer. He just swirled his wine, feigning calm. The vegan husband exploded. You sold lies to thousands of people, you bastard. You made people lose money, go into debt, trust you. The guru raised a hand as if to calm them. I merely sell hope. Claire, his wife, slammed her hand on the table so hard the glasses nearly toppled. He's a con man, and I'm tired of pretending. We're not a couple. We don't even live together anymore. This man here is just an actor, playing a character that all of you helped build. Her words hung in the air like poison. I, in my corner, felt my stomach churn. I knew I was witnessing something much bigger than a simple game. I was witnessing the fall of an entire empire of lies, and there was still more to come. Much more. The revelation of the guru's scam fell upon them all like a bomb. For a few seconds, no one seemed to know what to do. People looked at each other as if searching their friends' faces for some sign that this was all just a bad joke. But it wasn't. Claire, the guru's wife, was breathing heavily, as if she had just run a marathon. Her hands were trembling, clutching the edge of the table. I'm tired, she said almost in a whisper, but her voice echoed through the entire hall. I'm tired of living this lie, of pretending for the camera that we're a perfect couple, of selling products that don't even exist, of deceiving simple people, people who go into debt to buy our courses. She looked at her husband with hatred in her eyes. I hate you, Julian. Julian kept the smile on his face, but his eyes were empty, like two dark windows. He raised his wine glass slowly, but didn't drink. You think I'm the only one, he said, his voice calm, almost amused. You think you're better than me? Look at yourselves. He pointed to the fitness couple. You make a living selling pills that make people sick. You sell the perfect body while you're pumped full of illegal drugs. The fitness wife screamed, Shut up, Julian. You don't know anything about our lives. Julian ignored her and turned to the vegan couple. And you? You talk about nature, about compassion for animals, and you sell disguised meat to make a bigger profit. How many people bought your crappy burgers thinking they were saving the planet? The vegan man tried to speak, but his wife pushed him, full of anger. I was humiliated because of you. I lost friends defending our ideas while you were profiting behind my back. She began to cry, her whole body shaking. Julian slammed his fist on the table hard enough to make the wine splash. And you, little pastor, he said, looking at Richard, how many women do you have on the side? How many pretty words do you record for your stories, asking people to forgive while you're cheating on your wife? Richard's eyes widened, furious, but he didn't answer. He just lowered his head, his face completely devastated. The fitness wife, still tearful, looked around, her voice choked. I never imagined everyone here was so rotten. I thought we were among friends. Julian let out a dry laugh. There's no friendship in this business. There's only interest. Follower counts, views, likes, money. You know that as well as I do. Silence fell again. A silence that seemed alive, breathing with the house. I, from my corner, watched it all, unable to move. It was as if my body had been nailed to the floor. There, in that room, I understood something I would never forget. Julian spoke again, now in an almost calm tone. No one here is a saint. No one. You pretend for your followers, you pretend for your friends, you pretend for each other, but in the end, you're all just like me. The only difference is that I had the courage to turn the lie into a profit. No one argued. No one could even look each other in the eye. They were all, somehow, stripped bare. The vegan woman, sobbing, slumped into her chair. The fitness wife just stared at the floor. The pastor, Richard, was motionless, his eyes fixed on some distant point. Claire, the guru's wife, cried in silence. I felt something break inside me, a deep sense of disgust, not just for them, but for everything I saw every day on social media. I took a deep breath, trying not to show anything, because above all, I was still the butler, and my job was to maintain my composure. But inside, I knew the night was over, and nothing would ever be the same. For a few seconds after Julian's speech, the hall remained deathly silent. No one seemed to breathe. The only sound was the ticking of the old clock in the foyer. Then, as if someone had pulled the pin on a grenade, the chaos began. It was the woman from the fitness couple who exploded first. She pointed a trembling finger at the guru, her face red, tears mixed with smeared makeup. "You're a monster! You should be in jail!" Julian didn't even blink. He just smiled, cynical. "And you? Are you going to keep selling pills that nearly land people in the hospital?" Her husband stood up, shoving his chair back with such force it almost knocked over the table. "I'm going to break you in half, Julian. You think you can say whatever you want. You're nothing but a goddamn phony." The vegan man stood up too, his face twisted with rage. He yelled at the guru, "I lost friends because of your bullshit about energy. I put money into your retreat. You said you'd change my life, and all I did was lose money." Claire, the guru's wife, raised her hands, her voice trembling. "I'm not protecting anyone here anymore. You're all trash. You sell lies. You live on lies. You've destroyed entire families for followers and money." The vegan husband shouted back, "Mind your own business, Claire. You're a liar too. What did you think? That everyone here is pure? You lived the lie right along with him." She shot back, offended. "I was trapped in this hell. I had nowhere to run." Meanwhile, the pastor Richard remained seated, elbows on the table, face buried in his hands, until he looked up, his eyes red and shining. You talk about God in your stories. You talk about truth, about purpose, but you're just greed. All of you. You sell bodies, fake products, faith. You should be ashamed." Julian looked at him with contempt. "And you think you're any different, Pastor? You think God is looking out for you after what your wife found out tonight?" Richard clenched his fist so tight his knuckles turned white, but he didn't answer. He just trembled. The fitness wife turned on the vegan man. "And you? You lied to everyone. I ate your crappy burger to post a video and praise it, and now I find out it was real meat. I feel sick just thinking about it." The vegan man tried to defend himself. "It was just to avoid a loss. No one ever tasted the difference." She exploded. "It's not just about money, it's about real people, you plague. It's people following you, thinking they're saving the world." The hall had turned into a battlefield. Everyone was screaming at the same time. Glasses fell to the floor. A plate shattered against the wall. The chandelier swung as if it were about to come crashing down. Claire screamed, I'm done living a lie! I want the truth!" Julian brought his face close to hers in a cold whisper. "The truth doesn't sell, Claire. Nobody wants the truth. They just want pretty stories." She pushed him hard, nearly knocking him over. The guru lost his balance, stumbling against a chair, but caught himself on the table. The vegan man, shaking with rage, slammed his fist on the table, glaring at everyone. "You think I'm the only one? Everyone here is a liar. The fitness junkie uses illegal drugs. The guru sells courses that don't exist. The pastor cheats on his wife. Everyone here is trash." The fitness wife was crying convulsively. "I just wanted to be loved. I just wanted people to like me." The vegan's wife, her eyes red, shot back. "You don't care about anyone, only views. You'd kill someone if it got you more followers." I, standing in the corner not knowing where to put my hands, saw people who hours before had been smiling, laughing, taking pictures, now spitting venom at each other. It was as if, suddenly, all the masks had been ripped off by force, and what was underneath was horrible. I closed my eyes for an instant. I didn't want to see any more, But I couldn't leave. I was the butler. My job was to stay until the end. I stood there in my corner as the room seemed to crumble before me. The screams of the people mixed with the sound of falling glasses, of chairs being dragged, of people crying. It was so loud, but at the same time, everything seemed distant, muffled, as if I were listening from underwater. I couldn't move. My legs were stiff. My chest rose and fell rapidly. My eyes went from one face to the next, trying to understand how it had all come to this. Hours earlier, they were 4 smiling couples, toasting, saying beautiful things. Now they were 8 devastated people, spitting poisonous truths. I felt a sadness so immense I almost had to lean against one of the hall's columns. How did we get to this point? I thought of my wife. I thought of my son. I thought about how they follow these people on social media, how they comment on their videos, how they share stories saying, "I want to be like them." I thought of how many times my wife said she wanted the fitness influencer's body, or how my son talked about saving the planet, inspired by the vegans, or how he would send me videos of the guru saying, "Dad, listen to this man gets it," and all of it was a lie. I looked at the people before me, and I didn't see celebrities. I didn't see gurus. I didn't see pastors. I didn't see influencers. I saw rotten human beings, filthy, stripped of any mask, ordinary people, full of fear, full of shame, capable of lying without blinking just to win applause, likes, followers. I thought of how many other dinners I had served, how many other beautiful tables, how many other elegant nights, and how many secrets I had heard, standing in a corner, invisible. I realized I have always been the man holding the mirror, the man who sees everything, who knows who these people really are. And still, I never get used to it. I felt a profound disgust, not just for them, but for what we've become as a society. This need to appear perfect, even while being garbage on the inside. I thought about social media, and I felt afraid of living in a world where nothing is real, where everything is edited, filtered, rehearsed, where every smile can hide a scam, a betrayal, or a crime. There, in the middle of the wrecked hall, I realized I would never be able to look at social media the same way again. Because now I know there is no one real on the internet. After a while, their screams turned to murmurs. The arguments grew quieter. It seemed they had all run out of strength. Some sat down again, crestfallen. Others remained standing, staring into space, like people waking from a nightmare. The fitness wife was crying, leaning on her husband, who held her without knowing what to say. The vegan couple was separated, each in a different corner. The pastor Richard had disappeared from the hall, perhaps to find his wife who had left. The guru, Julian, stood by the window looking at the moon. Claire, his wife, was curled up in an armchair, her eyes swollen, no tears left to cry. And me, I just stood there, motionless, watching it all. I watched as people began to leave in a hurry, each one departing without so much as a glance at the others. No one smiled anymore. No one wanted to hug or promise future get-togethers. When the door slammed for the last time, only an echo remained, and me in the middle of that destroyed hall. Plates shattered on the floor, wine-stained tablecloths, a chandelier swinging from the ceiling like a pendulum, back and forth. I walked slowly, collecting glasses, straightening chairs. My footsteps were the only sound in the giant silence of the house. I looked at the pile of forgotten cell phones on the table. I stared at the devices as if they were bombs about to explode. There, I realized that nothing on the screen is real. I thought of all the people who follow those couples, millions of followers, ordinary people, believing every word, every video, every perfect photo, people who cry, who are inspired, who feel envy, who wish they had their lives. But their lives are what I saw tonight. A theater of lies, a war for attention, a dirty fight for money. I left the hall, still dizzy. I walked down the corridor, unable to feel my legs. I got my coat, I put on my hat, and before leaving, I stopped at the door, looking at the mansion, all lit up from within. A beautiful house, but now it seemed empty, dead. Outside, the cold wind hit my face. The sky was clear, full of stars, but it seemed cold, distant. As I walked down the front steps, my phone vibrated in my pocket. I took it out, looked at the screen. It was an Instagram notification. "The Guru Julian is live now. Join the broadcast." I stood there staring at the screen, and for the first time, I wanted to smash the phone on the ground. But I didn't. I just put the device back in my pocket. I kept walking down the deserted street, and I thought, they all had millions of followers. People my wife admired, people my son followed. I left there no longer believing anything I see on the internet. In truth, it's all a sham, and I never went back to work in that place again. All right, it's that time. If this story has you hooked, let's do the full ritual. Hit the like button to support the channel, subscribe so you don't miss a beat, and ring that bell to be the first to know what's coming. Your opinion is golden, so drop it in the comments below.